What up, what up? Here we are, Mr. Maryland, rocking the sunglasses. I got my man, Marshall Feldman. He's got the red, white, and blue going. It's a little bright in here. You know, Tobias dropped the light bank down on us. So we're here with our business-to-business interview series. We can take these off, right? So we got sunglasses. Marshall dropped by, brought us some nice little Tervis tumblers. This is all about you, man. When do we meet?
Stu, two things.
Yeah.
One, when you called me earlier, it's like, hey, man, you want to come on? I was like, really, man? This is going to be great. We met probably five to 6 years ago,
yep.
And then probably got to know each other a little bit more when Stu still is very active in ACAR, Anne Arundel County Association of Realtors, in the charitable committee there, which I was
community
on for
service
a couple of years.
committee. Marshall was a member of that committee.
Mm-hmm.
Helped us out. Many of our habitat stuff that we did with Harvest for the Hungry, food bank stuff. We've done golf tournaments. We've done jail and bails.
Yes,
raising $25,000, $30,000 a year. This year we were at the Johns Hopkins house. You guys all saw that video. How did you end up doing mortgages?
Good question. All right, so we're gonna go back to the beginning. I went to Penn State, graduated in 2003. So
Okay.
Christmas break of my senior year, I'm sleeping in. My dad comes, wakes me up. He actually had the Capital newspaper in hand, and he actually circled somebody we knew in the mortgage business. He said, "Hey, call this person to learn about the mortgage business."
Okay.
So I didn't know what I wanted to do. I called him. It was December. I went and met with them. Told me a little bit about the mortgage business. Didn't think about it again. Went ahead, second semester, graduated, had a good time that summer. Come September, October, start thinking about what I want to do. And the mortgage business stuck out in my mind. This was 2003, and I called a couple people. I interviewed with a couple different companies, thought about where I wanted to work, and I've been with First Home Mortgage ever since October 8th, 2003.
Wow, that's awesome. And so you're coming up on 16 years.
Coming up on 16 years.
Did you start when you were 12 like I did in real estate?
You know it. I had more hair.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Nittany Lions.
Yes, sir.
So what was your major in college?
Had nothing to do with finance. I was a...
Well, there you go. Look at this guy. Successful. And he was, a liberal arts major?
Recreation park management.
Oh,
Commercial
nice.
recreation.
So they had like a TV show about that, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Rec parks.
Yeah.
So
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Time and space.
So
right?
Growing up, where?
Grew up Anne Arundel County, Maryland. Born and raised. Born in the old Annapolis Hospital.
Okay.
Like a lot of people. And then grew up in Davidsonville.
Nice. So high school,
Severn School in Sferna Park.
Okay, awesome.
And
so local guy all the way through. So family life.
Family life. Met my wife Dana at Penn State.
Okay. College sweethearts.
College sweetheart. We have two beautiful children, Hannah and Nathan.
Okay.
And that's our fearsome foursome.
Yep. And what's nice about Marshall and his First Home Mortgage branch, they are right here in the same building as our Keller Williams Schmidt Home Consultants branch. And so how long has it been in the Millersville office now?
Well, I was in the Annapolis office for a long time.
Okay.
And had the opportunity in January to come up to this First Home office, which opened actually about exactly 1 year ago.
Okay.
Today. They moved from Sferna Park into this building to come up and help run and manage this branch with Mike Archer.
Nice. And Mike's a local guy.
Lives
Yep.
in Sferna Park. Our kids go to elementary school together. We, practically live about a mile from each other. And
that's cool.
So, I see
so
a
you
lot
guys
of
have a
Mike.
pretty good relationship.
Great.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What is something when you wake up every morning that you say, this is what I want to accomplish today?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, I think of, how blessed I am. I thank the lucky stars. I'm getting up. I like to start off the morning the right way, get a little exercise. I love coffee early in the morning. I wake up about an hour before the rest of the family.
Okay.
And then,
is that your Marshall time?
That's Marshall time.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
And then from there, that puts me in a positive mindset for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So whether whoever I come into contact with, employees here in the branch. I want to positively impact them, leave a smile on their face after we're done talking.
Yeah, I like what you said. And as you watch this series and some of the other ones, we talk about mindset a lot. And so when Marshall ties into mindset, staying positive, you're a funny guy. You kind of got these funny voices and quirks, which I always love. And so Marshall is one of those guys that always brings a smile, I believe, to everybody around him. I mean, I'm assuming that's what people would say about Marshall. That you bring a smile, you make people laugh.
Yeah, I try. Get it from my grandmother.
Okay.
So that's whoever you come into contact with, leave them a little bit better.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Now, when you touched on employees a little bit, the people that work with you. Tell us more about that, because I think that we're in a people business, and sometimes we miss the people that actually do the business.
Sure.
Right?
Sure. First and foremost, I mean, we've got an office. We have the best staff in the business. I thoroughly believe that, was thinking that and saying that actually earlier this morning. We just try to get better every single day. So even though I think we're the best, we can always be better. Things are always changing in our industry, real estate, mortgage related. There's constant change. We just want to, stay on top of it and be the best we can be. And, you don't have to be the biggest company. You don't have to be the biggest mortgage company in the world or the biggest real estate team in the world, but you can be the best. And how you measure the best, in my mind, is how we treat each other every day, how we speak to each other with respect, and just make sure people really enjoy coming into work every day.
Yeah, it's interesting you talk about that, because I touched on this a little bit previously about Southwest Airlines, Chick-fil-A, some of the Keller Williams, some of the ones that are at the top of the bar as far as customer service relations. And so when you think of Chick-fil-A, right, they're serving fast food. And what do they always say? How may I help you? It's been a pleasure. And so when I know working with your company, as we've done in the past, that seems to be the model and the message that you deliver from top down. Is that something that you internalized? Did you train for that? Or is that just something you're born with?
That's a great question.
Did I stump him?
It comes up. I think that's got to be part of your company culture to some degree.
Okay.
Obviously, we want happy clients. Everybody wants happy clients. You also can't forget about those you work with. So I take that, I want everyone who works in our office to be happy as well. And it's very important to me.
Yeah. I was at a mastermind recently. We did a top producer mastermind for the region, and it said, write down who your best client is. And I thought, man, that's interesting, right? We work with so many different people, and I'm not a dweller, so I never really remember the bad that happened to me.
Good for you.
And so I got a short-term memory. And when you think of the best client, I think this is something that all of us can learn in business. Write it down. And when you can put that on paper, who is your best client, right? It's the one that does this, or this, and listens, and da-da-da-da. And then you can start to put that out into the environment, and then inevitably it's going to come back to you. And so when I think of First Home, we've been partners with you guys for 8 years now, since we opened our office here back in Central Maryland. All my experiences with First Home and Marshall have been fantastic. What's the worst thing that's ever happened to Marshall in the business? Like the first mortgage you did, what was that like?
Don't jinx me, right? I can't think of the worst thing that's ever
happened to me.
Tell
me about the first one you did, and you were like Marshall in 2003, and you had no clue what you were doing.
I can't believe it's unbelievable when you think about it.
16 years.
16 years into the business that somebody let me take their loan application when I was 22 years old, and I'm not sure I knew how to spell mortgage.
Okay. There's a T and a G in there, right?
Somewhere there. Yeah. The T might be silent.
Yep.
I somehow got through it.
Yeah.
Just like any new challenge,
How about the mortgage that you resuscitated? Like you brought it back to life. It was dead, and the line stopped on the EKG, and Marshall jumped in and saved the day.
We do that.
Is that every day?
No, because You can get into the habit of in this business of constantly putting out fires. What I try to do is anticipate any fires before they start.
Okay, that's smart.
The business is hard enough as it is. So what I do is when I'm working with a client, I'm like, what could possibly go wrong on this?
Yep.
Okay. The mortgage industry can sometimes get a bad rap, or loan officers a bad rap. But there's a saying, buyers aren't liars.
Yeah.
Loan officers sometimes just don't ask the right questions. So we've got to do a thorough job up front to prevent on the back end those fires. And behind me, we've got an awesome team that just kind of runs with it.
Yeah.
Once we get things moving. So I can't think of any great resuscitation stories for you.
Yeah.
But
I like what you said, forecasting, thinking about what could potentially happen and getting ahead of it is probably what makes you very successful.
It's the only way, I think, in our industries that you can do high volume, because if you're not doing that, you're going to have a good month, but then you're babysitting your files because you're constantly managing it, and then you're going to have a down month the next month because you didn't prospect that month because you were busy.
Yeah. Well, I think Marshall has brought up some great nuggets. When you think about the cycle of business, right? We go up and we're working so much in here, right? It's files in Marshall's world, and it's real estate transactions in our world. And yes, they overlap. You're busy, then the next month you're not. And then you lead generate, and then you're busy, and then you're not. And so when you can build a sustainable, projectable business, that's when you're able to do the volume that you talked about.
Consistency is key.
Yeah. Are you a reader? Do you read books? Do you meditate? Do you pray? Like, what is Marshall on the inside?
All of the above.
Okay. What's a good book that you've read recently? Anything that comes to mind?
I read a book, Tribe of Mentors, recently.
Okay.
I loved it. Tim Ferriss is the author there. Just in terms of taking little nuggets from folks from all walks of life and kind of how they look at things and attack things. And I really like how what I gained from that.
Tribe of Mentors.
Yes.
Okay.
And then, I read a lot of news.
Okay. Well, yeah, your industry is so newsworthy. And when we're living in a society right now where a tweet changes the stock market and the volatility of money, really. And when you think about it, right, like I would hope that most of us aspire to be wealthy, correct? That's typically the goal of most people. And when you have the volatility of what we have in our world, you guys, your job is so much more important.
How do we measure it, right? So how do we measure, happiness? I think is a good measure there. Markets can be volatile. I don't control them. Stu doesn't control them. I was in the mortgage business since 2003, right? So I've seen 30% drops year over year in real estate values.
Yep.
That's like unheard of. I think we're getting to a point where people are forgetting that actually happened
in our lifetime.
Only about 11
10,
years
12
ago.
years ago, yeah.
So, it's real estate goes in cycles. What I love about what we do is the part of buying a house that's not an investment, actually, right? In terms of, what's the value in having a place to call home?
Yep.
Okay. In terms of, I can plant whatever bushes I want out front. I can paint the walls whatever color I want. We don't have to worry about moving next year in case my landlord decides to sell the house.
Yep.
What's good for my family staying put.
So it sounds to me like you're touching on like the qualitative parts of home ownership versus the quantitative.
Correct. And don't get me wrong, we look at the quantitative, right? We look at, okay, here's, over time, and I love the long view. The long view would be owning a home. The sooner you're in that game,
Yeah.
right? The wealth that you're talking about
Creating.
is going to build, right? You got to live somewhere,
Yep.
right? And it's just real estate's a great tool to get there.
Yeah, well, you bring up a good point. When people have a tragedy or a life-altering event, the first thing, what do they say? I want to go home.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be home, right? 9/11 was an influential time for me. I was 21. You were probably just a year or two younger or older. No. 9/11 happens, and people say, I want to go home. I want to be with my family. I want to be comfortable. I want to be in the presence of love. And when I think of home, and I think most people think of this, they think of a place that they love, they're happy,
Right.
and they're comfortable.
So, I mean, when you think about what real estate agents do, how important is that?
Yeah.
Right.
And you guys are tied right along with that, because without a true professional on your side as a part of your team, none of us are getting things done without each other.
Yeah, it's, one of those things that typically got to borrow money to buy the house.
Yeah, yeah. So what do your two kids say about Marshall? Or what do you want to say to them? Because someday they're going to watch this and you're going to be either really old or long gone, and they're going to say, Dad shot this video a long time ago.
This lives on forever.
This lives on forever, man.
Oh,
And this is what
goodness.
Cooper and I, our 11-year-old son, we talk about this all the time. 100 years from now, right? Tobias hears me say this all the time. 100 years from now, what are they going to say about Marshall?
Whew.
You ever been asked that question?
Well, I've thought about it.
Okay,
I have not
that's
been
good.
asked this, because
Okay.
what you're getting to is legacy stuff.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And what do we want? I'm 1 year younger than you, Stu. So
Yeah.
it's just to close the loop on
1 year younger.
just to close the loop on that.
Nice.
I've been in the mortgage business 16 years. Hannah and Nathan, I love you very much. If you do ever watch this video, what I hope I'm not sure if they're going to say anything about me that has to do with what I do for a living.
Okay.
I'm
Which I think is great, right? Because
I'm
instead of being
curious.
Marshall the lone guy, you're Marshall the human being, or Marshall the dad, or Marshall the husband.
Yeah, so I think, as a father and husband, what you hope they remember is, he was there.
Yep.
In terms of, not missing a thing.
Yep. That's awesome, man. And so being present for your family, being a great role model, sounds like that's what is important to you.
Yeah, I think it's important. Your kids see you get up, going to work every day, being productive. How you treat people.
Yep.
Is because we all struggle with probably raising our children and how how to do it. Like how do you turn these little people into
Big people.
big humans, right?
Yeah.
And I think the best thing you do is lead by example.
Yep. I mean, you always have a smile on your face. Like, is that all the time, or is there ever a time where Marshall's like, I just need to decompress?
There are times to decompress. So we talked about that Marshall time, first hour in the morning.
Okay.
Sometimes there's, there's some coffee, some just kind of sitting there thinking about the day before.
Yep.
The next day.
We're gonna trademark that Marshall time.
We could run with it.
Billboards, whatever.
That's right.
That's right.
Every day is not perfect.
Yep.
There are, ups and downs to what I do for a living.
Sure.
In terms of, sometimes there's a client that you want to work with and they choose not to work with you and you don't know why, right? And sometimes you almost want to call them back and ask them why.
Yeah.
And things like that. But you just kind of got to move on.
Yeah.
You're mad for about a second, and then get introspective, think about it, if there's anything you could have done differently, and then sometimes you arrive at, I'm not sure there's anything I could have done differently.
Yeah.
I think it's time to move on.
Well, it sounds like you're passionate about what you do, and you're obviously an extrovert, right? You're comfortable in this setting, and so when somebody doesn't see that passion or see the value that Marshall provides, I get it. You start to wonder, like, did I not convey the message properly? What did I not do to help them understand? I always like to say it's not about the transaction, it's about the relationship. And so I get upset because I feel like they missed an opportunity for a relationship.
Right.
And that's really what kind of bothers me sometimes as far as real estate transactions, mortgage transactions, really any type of transaction. It all comes down to the relationship. We go to good restaurants because of the relationship, right? We hire professionals, whether they're CPAs, insurance, media production, because of the relationship. And so you're a relationship guy. What do you have for that 22-year-old that stumbled out of Penn State? What's a little tidbit for that guy that's just getting started with a Rec and Parks degree?
You know what? I mean, follow what you want to, you don't have to be successful right away.
Okay.
Try to define what you think success looks like, because it is going to be different for everyone. And it may not be, it's not, it's not the same for you as it is for everyone else, right? And then just, get, once you find yourself working in a profession, be available, soak up the information. Go the extra mile, and, generally try to contribute positively to whatever the greater outcome is.
Yeah. Well, I love what you said when you said pave your own way, be positive, be present. I mean, it sounds like I can tell you've internalized those things. And when we have these interviews with business owners and the words just kind of flow right out of your mouth, I know that it really is coming from the heart and it's something that you truly believe in. And when we talk about how can we help future generations of business owners, whether real estate professionals, mortgage professionals, you bring up some amazing tidbits about be present, right? We're so glued to our phones and our computer and television. Be there for the people that you want to be with.
Yeah, no, I mean, and what you and Michelle are doing is amazing in terms of you're giving people your playbook.
Yep.
In terms of, hey, this is what we've done and it works for us. It may not work for you, but in terms of here's my playbook, right? And we do the same thing in our business, and some people will pick it up and run with it, and some people won't.
Yeah.
But it's there's a direct correlation there.
Yeah. Where does Marshall's team go from here?
Where does Marshall's team go from here? Well, we're going to Mike's next month for crabs.
Okay.
I know we're doing that.
Okay. I like that idea. Write that down.
There you go.
Depending on when you watch this, it's going to be every month.
There you go. Yeah. That's right. Meet me there.
Yeah.
We just put one foot in front of the other and try to get better every single day.
Yep.
Because that's there's no like super huge, large projections like we must do this to get to this, to get to this. Just trying to get better.
Yep. Yep. What's your next book? What's your next health thing? What do you got going on? Like what?
A couple things there. Downloaded on the Kindle the Trevor Noah autobiography. So he's the host of The Daily Show. Somebody recommended that book to me. He's about our age. I think he's got an interesting past growing up in South Africa. So I got to get to that. We're both almost 40 still, so health is a big piece
30s,
of the pie.
mid-30s. Okay.
Trying to, stay active.
Yep.
And, try to, Father Time's undefeated. But
yeah. Well, Marshall brings up another good point, and I know I keep saying Marshall brings up a good point. Time, we all have the same amount of time, right? We all have 24 hours in the day. Sounds like you really make the most of it.
I try to be as efficient as possible with whatever I'm doing at the time.
Nice.
Right? So I am not one of these people that I don't work 70 hours a week.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want to, and
well, you choose not to.
I choose not to. That culture has probably been glorified, which is interesting to me.
Yep.
But when I'm at work, I'm as efficient as possible.
Okay.
Right. So if I know I've got to be somewhere and I've got an hour and 7 minutes before I leave the office, every minute of that 1 hour and 7 has got to be utilized.
Yep. So efficiencies, effectiveness.
Yeah. I'm always looking for efficiency hacks.
Yeah, that's good. Well, you're big on Instagram. How did that come about?
Good story. Well, decided to kind of get a little bit more involved in social media. We have an awesome marketing assistant, Sarah Fairbanks, who does a lot for us. But I'm also trying to be on it because a realtor actually called me out a couple months ago.
Okay.
And she goes, I know that's not you on Instagram. I just did you? And then I was with her, and I'm like, yeah, it's not even on my phone. I don't even know my password. So I do have,
So you have leverage in your life, which is good.
But now we're involved, and it's just one of these things. It's where people are, right?
Yep.
So it's interacting and it's fun, and it's if we're not having fun, then what are we doing?
Yeah. Well, you're a fun guy, man. What's a fun little tidbit about Marshall as we wrap this up?
Fun little tidbit. All right. Well, how about this? We talked about staying active, right? So I recently signed up to play in an over 30 lacrosse league.
Okay.
I went to 3 games, pulled my hamstring twice, and I have retired from lacrosse. So I'm counting down the days till I'm eligible for the over 40
Over
league.
40, okay.
And that's going to be, we might give it another go.
Yeah, that's good, guys. I mean, if you don't love this guy, man, something's wrong with you. I mean, he's going to tell you stories about pulling hamstrings and how he wasn't really on his own Instagram account. Now he is because he got called out, which I think is awesome. And I appreciate you being transparent and vulnerable.
Nah, my pleasure.
I think that humanizes, who Marshall is. Occasionally we'll be out and we'll meet some people and they're like, oh, you're Stu? Like I'm just some sort of like behind the scenes, Oz, Wizard of Oz behind the cloak or something. And it's fun to kind of put a face to a name and really get out in front of people and get into a relationship. So you guys know where to find Marshall. First Home Mortgage here in Millersville, Maryland. You obviously know Instagram, Facebook. I'm assuming you're on that.
Yeah.
So what else, man? That's about it.
If anybody's ever watching this video in the future, right, and you have a question, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to answer it.
Yep.
Stu, thanks for having me. This has been a treat. You're, super professional, super high class. Love what you're doing here. Culture of sharing.
Thank you.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So thank you guys. You know where to find us. Stuart and Michelle Schmidt. You know our YouTube channel, Instagram, Facebook. If you need to call the office, 443-795-3136. You see Michelle's sign there. We're here with Marshall. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you. Thank you, guys. Out.